Wi-Fi word.
All right, thank you everybody for joining us at our downtown Chinatown neighborhood board meeting. My name is Ernest. I am the chair. To my far right, we have our esteemed Robert Armstrong. Then next to him, we have Travis Thompson. Next to him, we have Rossi Sikani. Online, we have both Kevin Lai and Lori McCartney. So as of now, we'll go ahead and start this board. This board is now in session at 6 o'clock. Thank you. We have quorum. So first, we're going to start off with the Honolulu Fire Department. Are they here? All right, not seeing the Honolulu Fire Department. We'll go ahead and move on to the Honolulu Police Department. Are they here?
Aloha, I'm here, Chair. Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Sergeant Brandon Shirishi from the District 1 Community Policing Team from the Honolulu Police Department. I'll go over the stats. So for this month, for motor vehicle thefts, we have 7 compared to 4 last month. Burglaries 4 compared to 4. Thefts 33 compared to 37 last month. Unauthorized entry into a motor vehicle 4 compared to 8 last month. Assaults 9 compared to 21. Sex assaults 2 compared to 2. Graffitis are 0, same as last month. And drug offenses are 8, the same as last month. And for total calls of service, we had 1,664 calls for service this month, compared to 2,210 calls last month. And our safety tip for this month is going to have to do with driving safety, driver safety, and pedestrian safety. So just in time for Halloween, a few tips for drivers. Be alert for trick-or-treaters on Halloween. Slow down and continue to scan the roads in areas where they are likely to be or where sight distances are limited. On Halloween day, there will likely be more pedestrians on the road and in places where they usually are not. Slower speeds save lives. Stay alert for pedestrians who may come between parked cars or behind the shrubbery, and stop and wait for them to pass. And don't look at your phone while you're driving. Your attention needs to always be on the road. And for pedestrians, try to walk on the sidewalk if one is available and use crosswalks. And before Halloween festivities begin, create a buddy system to get each other home safely and prevent walking alone. With that, I'll be open to any questions anybody may have.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have any questions from those in our gallery here today? All right, any questions from anyone online? All right, Janice, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. I'm Janice, and I am very concerned about the crime that's happening outside my apartment building. I'm not talking about the homeless. It's crime, and it goes on all the time. I know a lot of them are not homeless because I got this homeless resource card to give out to them. I made copies, and they said, "Oh, we're not homeless." So basically, they're just loud, on drugs, drinking every single night. The other night, they were smashing bottles at 2 a.m. So why is this allowed to take place every single night? And it's been going on for months. I do call the police department. They do come by, but they just tell them to, settle down, and then they leave, and it starts all over again. So my question is, first of all, why is this allowed every single night, them doing drugs and drinking? And can we get a foot patrol to come out after dark? Because I think that would be successful. Yeah, I mean, I work in the morning. I haven't, they're just loud all night long. So it's very hard to sleep, and I have to function for work the next day. So that's my first question. And then my second one was, I received this newsletter from the Honolulu City Council, passed a $4.7 billion budget, and that's going towards addressing homelessness and public safety. $354 million for the Honolulu Police Department. So what steps are being taken to relieve this crime? And also, why is the van parked out of my apartment, the needle exchange, allowed to be in a residential area? Because that is bringing them in. So I think a better spot for that would be around no apartments, maybe a la Park, where they bring the mobile showers for them, or Sand Island. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Janice. I'll try and address your first question about the individuals causing noise complaints and drinking out in the sidewalk. So of course, I'll bring it up with to our patrol supervisors and see if they can have some saturation in that area and see what they can do. You're doing the right thing by calling 911. Um, and we're out there to address it. I'm not too sure. Maybe a better, I guess, course of action, if you haven't already, is try and meet with the officer, and maybe they may be able to explain to you what they're doing or how they're trying to alleviate that issue. But most of the time, for those types of complaints, we're gonna drive down there, try and speak to them, get their information, and if we can, we're gonna try and have them leave, right? And why it's happening, it just depends. I know, I'm guessing you live in the Kukui, near that
Yes,
Kukui
correct. The
Street area, right?
Kalihi one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we can I'm not too sure I guess
What?
what else we can do. It's hard for us
I,
to just drive by and I guess profile people based off of what they're doing. I'm not too sure where it's happening either, if it's on private property or just on the sidewalks. But
yeah.
I will bring it up, and you are doing the right thing. You can please continue to call 911, and officers can check on it. With the foot patrols, we do have foot patrols through the Chinatown Task Force that goes out 5 or 7 days a week in five
In the
hour
daytime,
periods.
though.
It just depends. We do have some that run nighttime. It just depends. What we've noticed is that during the overnight hours, it kind of doesn't. We really don't get our bang for the buck during the overnight hours, because Chinatown does slow down a lot. So we try and have our officers work either during the day or during that I guess late evening, early night hours.
Okay. Have them stop by my block. It never slows down. It's always busy. They're always out there.
Yeah, and I know I actually run a shift maybe every other week, and I do have my guys go out there and check. And I guess for the second question, for the needle exchange, or well, for first for the money, I'm not too sure. That's way above my level. I can bring it up with our command and see what the plan is for that money. I am not too sure. And then for the needle exchange, I know that they're doing a few other things. Of course, we don't control where they go, and we can't force them to be put in a certain location. I believe right now they are going to they're trying to pilot a program to have them in a different location. I think it's more by the IHS area
Right.
down the street. And then from there, I think they're gonna see what kind of I guess if they get more people to there, and what the response is like before they move there permanently, maybe. Or I think that they're trying to move to a different location because of the amount of complaints we've gotten. But that again, we don't control. But I hope that answered your question.
Yes. Just one more comment, if I can, Chair.
So I'm gonna stop right there first before I come back to you. So Janice, first of all, I did send you the email advising that the needle exchange was gonna be moving to Evelyn.
Yes.
Should have got that email, yeah? So the police department has nothing to do with that. That's why I sent you that email.
Okay.
All right, but give us a second. I want to get this board in before I go to any more questions, okay?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Any questions from our board? Go ahead, Russ.
Yes, hello, Sergeant. Welcome. So I just wanted to follow up on some questions that I've been addressing to Lieutenant Segusio. Just over the last couple of meetings, I've been requesting historical backward-looking statistics, just on the foot and beat patrol statistics, the staffing in our neighborhood. And Lieutenant Segusio, and I'm imagining you're going to do the same, has been pretty consistent in relaying that command. Their decision is to not release that information. Unfortunately, I'm just not quite satisfied yet, especially in the context of Jan's question, in the context that downtown Chinatown has the highest incidence rate of violent crime on the island. And again, like Jan, like we hear from many other residents, we want more foot patrol presence. So, you know, Sergeant, rather than continuing to ask you and the lieutenant this question over and over again, I'm just wondering if I can be put into contact with someone from command, just so I can continue my attempt to try to get this information for our neighborhood. Thank you.
Yeah, I can get you the contact info. I can get you the contact information. The best person to probably speak with would be Acting Captain Haishin Lin. Also, you can always call if you wanted to. You can call the main office for District 1. The number is 723-3327, and ask to speak to either the acting captain or the major. But yes, I do believe they have historical data on our Chinatown Task Force, or the foot patrols that we have been doing. It has evolved over the years to focus on different things, but I'm not too sure of all that information. But Acting Captain Haishin Lin should be the one that has that information and the release authority for it or not.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else on this board? Go ahead. Kevin Lai, board member Lai, please.
Chair and Sergeant, thank you for your time tonight. Just posted a few questions that come up. Follow up from previous requests for help in moving this green bin away from the fire hydrant has been successfully. Thank you for that. On a recent citizen patrol, we noticed that there was some illumination inside the Chinatown substation, which is great to see. It really looks like it might be a police station in there. The patrol was able to come in and see some of the new display monitors displaying the camera array. We did notice a bit of buffering, and I think that's been commented on by some of the command about the issues that are inlaid with the network there. 3 giant video screens. However, we did notice that 2 of them were showing displays, but the third one was showing a TV game show. So we wonder about the attention of the folks, and it looks like it was the Beat Shazam show with Lucretia. Anyway, just wondering if you can let us know what the requirements or obligations are of HPD while looking at the camera feeds, and should that third screen be highlighting a camera feed with some action going on or something like that. But aside from that, wanted to raise some questions for you. This is just a vehicle to let you give some comment about what our citizenry should do about things that are observed. Here's a truck that's displaying multiple flashing lights on its front. At first, it looked like an ambulance from a distance with this different array of bright flashing lights on its front, but it happened to just be hauling a refrigerator of some type. Then we have some folks who continue to fail to make forward progress through a crosswalk that's marked. Really an issue that's chronically in our neighborhood as well. Cars parking near driveway curb cuts, preventing egress from downtown areas. We got folks riding bicycles on the sidewalks. And then there was this giant cube that was placed in the roadway into the lane outside of the parked car area. Wondering how you think we should have approached that. And then lastly, folks, continuing to smoke outside of the 20-foot rule for enclosed and ceiling spaces. So just want to give you a chance to comment on how you might approach some of these, or there's anything besides calling 911 that citizens should do when we come across these types of activities. Thank you.
No, I mean, I think you're right. That's why we're here, right? We provide that service. Calling 911 will give us a heads up of something happening, and we can always go and check it out and try and address what it is. Of course, depending on what the situation is, some of them might be harder to address than others, especially with smoking, right? Kind of goes down in priority for calls for service. If somebody is available, they can go and check on it. But you know, how long does it take to smoke a cigarette, depending. But I really do think that you should call. That is something that will bring our attention, and it's a call for service we have to check on. For the flashing lights with the truck, a little difficult depending on the laws. Of course, we have to observe it. So how fast they're going, direction of flight, where they are, that's going to help us if we have to stop them and educate them, or cite them if they're using some type of color that's not allowed, or depending on if the lights are causing a distraction for other drivers. Parking too close to the curbs, that's another one. Call, we'll be there, we'll cite. Depending on where the vehicle is in relation to I guess officer discretion on if another vehicle can egress or not will determine if will get towed. But definitely they'll get cited. Usually we will try and contact the registered owner prior to just as a courtesy, you know, and if we can't get in contact with them, of course, they'll get cited, depending again on egress. If the officer feels a vehicle can fit through or not, they'll determine if a tow is needed. And then with the pods issue, I am not too sure. You can call us. An officer can take a look at it. We're probably going to try and make contact with the company. I know this one is pods. There are different other ones, dumpsters included, that we usually try and make contact with the company and see what arrangements they had, if they did pull the correct permits or not. If they did pull a permit, it should be displayed on that pod or dumpster or whatever it is that they have on the side of the road. But that is the right thing, to contact 911 and have an officer come by.
All
Thank
right,
you.
I do appreciate that. Next, we'll be going to our last person, unless anybody here. Okay. Yeah. Huh? Sean, the police on, you have any questions for them? Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead. Let's go, Sean, then we'll go back to Jan, and Jan will be our last.
As an initial question, sorry, hi, I'm Sean. Thanks for accommodating the inquiry. Sorry for being late. I just came back from work. The news reported a attempted shooting of two people in downtown on Monday morning at 2 a.m. this week. I guess the first question, is there any leads on any potential suspects? The facts of the case appear to be quite horrific. Two people walking down the street and were approached by a guy with a gun, and someone shot and discharged the handgun at his head, and apparently the guy moved and the bullet grazed his skull. So the first question, is there any updates as to any apprehension of those suspects?
Yeah, no updates. It's still being investigated. I don't have much information on that case specifically.
Okay. And furthermore, I guess I wanted to follow up a little bit more about some representations that were made this last month from HPD, especially with respect to the lowering decreased levels of crime. It was reported that crime was overall decreased over this past year. However, the police chief, if I recall correctly, is reluctant to provide any sort of statistics that support that representation. That seems kind of odd to me. It seems that those statistics would be necessary for especially people like us in the neighborhood board to understand like what aspects of what criminal aspects are still prevalent within our own community, what's being improved upon and what's not. And so is there a reason why that the police chief is not providing those statistics to support the representation that crime overall has decreased under his tenure?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I can't speak for the chief on what he disclosed or not. I know that the police department does release an annual report with all the crime statistics at the end of the year. So it could possibly be a statistical kind of data gathering type of issue or not. But we did release our new crime search dashboard on honolulupd.org that you can actively search crime rates or different crime closure rates for different types of cases. I didn't really explore into it and get down into using it too much, but I know that they did just release that. That may give some answers if you try and look through it. But I will let our command know that the question was asked and see if they have anything or can bring it up higher to the fourth floor.
All right, thank you. And the last one tonight, Jan, if you can keep it direct, please. Go ahead, Jan.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to comment on the police stopping by, driving by. It's not real beneficial because, like I said, they tell them to be quiet and leave, and it starts all the way up again. So I think the foot patrol would be more beneficial, and they actually might leave the area because they come out about 10 and they're noisy all night long until 8 in the morning every single night. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We do appreciate that. Sergeant, we thank you for your time. You have a great day, and we'll see you guys next month. Are you coming next month or Lieutenant Seguccio?
I believe it should be Lieutenant Seguccio. He couldn't make it today, so I replaced him for today. I believe it'll be back to him next month.
All right, thank you very much. Before we go to presentations, I want to try one more time. Honolulu Fire Department.
Evening. Sorry for the delay. We had a medical emergency to attend to. My name is Firefighter 3, Hiram Nihipali, here from Station 1, Engine 1. I'll be giving the statistics for the month of September 2023. Regarding fires, we had 1 structure fire, 2 nuisance fires, and 7 activated alarms. Regarding other emergencies, we had 109 medical emergencies, 1 motor vehicle collision with pedestrian, 10 motor vehicle collisions, and that completes the statistics. And for the fire safety tip, we just wanted to remind everyone that October is Fire Prevention Month, and the National Fire Protection Association sponsors Fire Prevention Week, which observes from October 8th to the 14th of 2023. As the national campaign is promoted throughout the month of October, this year's theme is Cooking Safety Starts With You. Pay attention to fire prevention. It says, did you know that cooking fires are the leading cause of home fires and home fire injuries? Unattended cooking is the leading cause of cooking fires and deaths. What can you do about it? It says the good news is you can prevent most cooking fires and burns. Help keep your family safer with these simple but effective tips. Turn pot handles towards the back of the stove. Always keep a lid nearby when cooking. If a small grease fire starts, slide the lid over the pan and turn off the burner. Watch what you heat. Set a timer to remind you that you are in fact cooking. And lastly, have a kid and pet-free zone of at least 3 feet around the stove and areas where hot food and drinks are prepared or carried. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Does anyone in attendance have any questions for our fire department? Seeing none, hearing none. Anyone online have a question for our fire department? Seeing none, hearing none. Anyone on the board have any questions for our fire department? Seeing none, hearing none. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
your time. Appreciate it. Have a good day, guys. All right, next we have presentations. They're 15 minutes each. That includes questions and answers. Announcements of the following events: Chinatown Open House, Choi Cheng, 2024, sponsored by the Chinese Chamber of Commerce, Chinatown New Year celebration at Chinatown Culture Plaza, 2/2/24 and 2/3/2024, sponsored by the Chinese Chamber of Commerce. Night in Chinatown Festival and Parade, 2/3/2024, sponsored by Chinatown 808. We have Leonard Cam speaking on this. Thank you, Leonard.
Thank you. Leonard Cam, I'm president of Chinatown 808, also the chairperson for the Chinese Chambers events on that Friday and Saturday. The first event on February 2nd will be our annual open house Choi Chang Night, which includes closures of all of Chinatown, which means Bethel. We may encroach into 4th Street Mall a little bit along King Street, Beretania, and River Street. Along King Street, we will go down through Kekaliki a little, as well as Mauna Kea and Smith, and as well as Nuuanu. The event will start at 6 o'clock, which means that we will actually have a full closure of that whole area while we do our opening ceremonies at 8 South King Street. Once we get that clear, Nuuanu will be opened while we have the closure of the rest of Chinatown. And then we will proceed to close Hotel Street once we are able to, which is about 7-ish. And then if things will go to about 9 with firecrackers. If we have to go a little longer, we can go until 10 o'clock without firecrackers. And then everything will finish by 10 o'clock. So that is the open house, Choi Chang. Did you want me to go one by one and then get questions, or did you want to same time at the end of everything, or? Okay. So the next event, Chinese Chamber of Commerce sponsors, which is in the Chinatown Cultural Plaza. So it's Friday as well as Saturday. It'll run until 10 o'clock at night. Friday, we officially start at 5, but vendors start to sell about noontime. And then on Saturday, we go from 9 till 10. And so that's vendors as well as entertainment within the Cultural Plaza. There is no, we don't use anything outside of the Cultural Plaza for that event. It's more kind of informative for the board. There will be traffic due to parking situations and everything, but that's that event. The last event sponsored by Chinatown 808 is the Night in Chinatown Festival as well as parade. So that will be Saturday, February 3rd. The event will begin about 7 a.m. and that is when we close Britannia Street between Mauna Kea and A'ala Street. We also will be using A'ala Park. So last year, this year was the first year that we did that, and we worked together with HPD and DTS to work out the traffic patterns. And then after this past event, HPD gathered enough information to streamline traffic flow a lot better. So it should be easier, in quotes, for people to get around during that time. They noted that there wasn't tremendous amount of backup or backlog in cars and traffic along Britannia Street. And so then in order to make flow a lot easier they've come up with a different flow pattern for that period when we're closing the street. That's the only street that will be closed until our parade, which will be about 4 o'clock along Hotel Street. So it starts at the state capitol. We gather at the Capitol as well as along Richard Street, and we'll go until Mauna Kea Street, and then we'll start to disband the parade after that. That should end at around 6 o'clock, and that should complete that part of it. The festival in the street along Britannia will be ongoing during that time, as well as in A'ala Park, and we will be able to shut down by 10 o'clock per the permit application. And then we will have crews breaking down equipment as well as booths further for the next hour or so. All right.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone in attendance that have any questions for Mr. Kam? All right, seeing none, hearing none. Is there anyone online that has any questions for Mr. Kam? Seeing none, we'll move to the board. Mr. Armstrong, Board Member Armstrong.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Leonard, it was just such a great event last year. It was the first time I think the community felt that we had passed the pandemic, and everyone, I don't think there was a single person who didn't think that the outpouring of people was impressive, and that the parade in particular was just fantastic. I can't wait for it to happen again, but I can't believe it's February 2nd and 3rd. It's early this year. So best wishes, and thank you for all that you do for our community.
Thank you. Well, we also invite the board to participate in our parade again this year. So
Yeah, I'll get the
We'd like-
applications up and going, yeah. Anyone else on the board? Go ahead, Board Member Travis.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your presentation. And we do appreciate these sort of activities. You've heard there's a lot of concerns about crime, and I think one thing that has shown to reduce crime is increased foot traffic. So anything we can do to increase foot traffic, specifically at night, I think will help us in that sense. So we appreciate that. Will you be encouraging people to take public transit to get into the neighborhood to kind of reduce traffic and so that people don't have parking issues, or what will you be doing to
we do.
address
And
that?
on our website, we will be providing more information regarding public transportation. It's always a challenge. You know, people are creatures of habit, and so getting them to change is one thing. But yeah, we will be continuing to issue information that can help facilitate that.
Sorry, quick follow-up. Will you be encouraging beaky biking or any of the other kind of ride sharing aspects?
I think we tried to work with them this past year, and we'll continue to dialogue with them to see how we can integrate that into our program.
All right, thank you. Board Member Russ is comment.
Yes, you actually covered a lot of my question, but can you just give a quick recap regarding public transportation, the information? What is the website that we should go to?
So our website is Chinatown 808.
Oh, it's Chinatown 808. Okay. Is Chinatown 808, I'm sorry for the follow-up, is Chinatown 808 connected with the Chinese Chamber of Commerce or is
No.
it a separate
So
organization?
we're a separate 501c3 organization.
All right, thank you. So next we have Board Member Sean Fitzsimmons.
Alcohol sales.
Nope.
No alcohol sales whatsoever. All right. Thank you very much.
We have a strong feeling about not having alcohol sales or producing it at all. No, so nothing.
All right, next up, we have Board Member Lori McCarney, please.
Chair, sorry, I'm going to stay on video off. I have a Wi-Fi, unstable Wi-Fi. One thing I might suggest is contacting the Hawaii Bicycling League. They can set up bike valet, and that means that they will watch bicycles that come in. There aren't too many beaky bikes in Chinatown, unfortunately. But if you contact them, then they may be able to set that up, and they'll also promote bicycling to the event.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right.
Hawaii
thank you.
Bicycling League, right?
Hawaii Bicycling League.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Do we have any other board members? All right, I want to thank you very much for your time, Mr. Kam, and we look forward to the parade.
Thank you very much.
You have a good day. Thank you very much. Oh, wait a minute. And we don't have to approve. Yeah, we don't have to approve anything, but it's a goal.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All right, so next up, we have City Light Opening Night will occur on Saturday, December 2nd, 2023, 4 to 4:45 p.m. Vehicles arrive at the staging area on King Street at A'ala Park. 6:05 p.m. Parade begins at approximate time, 6:32 p.m. The first unit anticipated to arrive in front of City Hall. Vehicles will be directed to park on the left lanes on the Mauka side of King Street, 7:45 p.m. Parade ends. Approximate time, that last vehicle is parked and Santa Claus float has left. Vehicles remain parked for about 45 minutes on King Street for viewing by the public. Drivers and assistants must remain with vehicles at all times. 8:15 p.m., all parade vehicles must leave King Street at this time. So we have Deputy Director Warren Mamizuka? No? Okay, so who's representing?
Aloha, everyone. I'm Coran Park-Chun from the Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resilience. Also one of two coordinators for this year's Honolulu City Lights. So as the chair mentioned, it's going to start from A'ala Park, ends at Alapai Street. That's the route for the parade this year. Street closures, we haven't finalized that, but it is in place. Vendors are going to be on Punch Bowl. So Punch Bowl usually is blocked at between 12 and 2. So the vendors can start setting up and they start serving food at 4 o'clock. What else? My colleague, Teresa, might be able to share more, but other than what I gave the chair the route of the parade, and I'm sorry I didn't bring any more handouts, but certainly HonoluluCityLights.org, there's information on that. Also, the Friends of Honolulu City Lights, who's a co-sponsor as well. They're the nonprofit side of Honolulu City Lights that works together with the city for the ground displays and for the activities going on. There's going to be vendors during the month of December, and that's all going to be on the website. So it's work in progress. Do you have any questions?
So Just so you know, everyone, if you want to check the parade routes and all that, you can go to the Chinatown Neighborhood 413 Google site. It's all posted up so everybody can see that, all right?
Okay.
So it is on the agenda in the box on the meeting materials, yeah? Okay, all right. Does anyone in attendance have any questions? Anyone online have any questions? Any board members have any questions? We'll start off with our esteemed board member, Robert Armstrong.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a real quick question. I know that there was some activities last year that were curtailed because of the post-pandemic. Are we back to pre-pandemic activities?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Full
Thank you.
stage Skygate concert stage will have live entertainment as well as the vendors on Punch Bowl. Also during on the mayor stage, during that ceremony, there's going to be the Kamehameha Schools Kids Choir on doing a performance on there as well. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Next, we had board member Travis Thompson.
All right, thank you for being here. Essentially the same comment. Thank you for bringing the activities to Chinatown. Also, we'd be encouraging people to take public transit to get them into the neighborhood or bicycling, beaky bike, et cetera.
Thank you.
Any other board members have any questions? Any other board members online have any questions? All right, seeing none, hearing none, we'll go ahead and move ahead. Thank you very much. We
Thanks.
appreciate what you guys do for the city.
Hello.
Thank you. All right, next, we have installation of plaque on 4th Street for Dolores Morling for her 27 years of service as a downtown Chinatown Neighborhood Board member. This is sponsored by the Chinatown Business Community Association, Council Member Tyler Dos Santos Tam, and former neighborhood member and daughter, Laura Sturgis. Speaking on behalf will be Laura Sturgis.
Thank you, Chair. Hello, Board. Well, let's see. What can I say about her? Dolores Mulring was born August 22nd, 1936 in Elgin, Illinois, a small farming community 40 miles northwest of Chicago. She graduated from Elgin High School back in 1954. After high school, Dolores joined the Air Force and moved from Illinois to Texas, served as a photographer, a VIP photographer, and she would carry these big, huge cameras back then, mastering lab equipment as well as developing and printing the photos. She remembered one photo shoot where she stood on the wing of a plane in her Air Force skirt and high heels in order to get the best shot of the pilot in the plane. In 2008, some of her photos were featured in an exhibit in downtown YWCA entitled Women in the Military. 1959 followed her military discharge. Dolores moved to Honolulu. She worked at the old Waikiki landmark, the Tahitian Lanai, as a bookkeeper. In 1961, she took a job at First Hawaiian Bank, where she remained there for 38 years until her retirement in 1997, when she chose to take early retirement to take care of my son, because no one else was going to do it. Looking for a new direction for her considerable energies, Dolores joined the Downtown Neighborhood Board following her retirement. One of her first causes was working to get the long-promised playground equipment installed at the newly created Smith Baratania Park, so her grandson and other neighborhood children would have a playground close by. It took 5 years, but the equipment was finally installed. At the same time, Dolores joined the Downtown Citizens Patrol to fight the epidemic of homelessness, drugs, and prostitution that was prevalent downtown in the early 90s. In her role as community activist, she increased the Citizens Patrol profile with stronger participations and partnerships with the police, as well as including Kukui Plaza security team. She was subsequently invited to join the Weed and Seed program as a local voice in this federally funded program. She also was acknowledged as a community honoree in their legacy luncheon. In 2014, Dolores was given the Police Week Citizens Award for her work in community policing programs. And Dolores continued to lead her group in the patrol through downtown Chinatown every Tuesday until her death in 2020. Dolores is perhaps best known, however, for her personal campaign to save the downtown crosswalk that links Main Branch of First Hawaiian Bank and Tamarind Park. In 2005, when the city planners announced their intention to close the crosswalk to speed traffic flow down Bishop Street, Dolores single-handedly started a petition to drive and to keep the crosswalk. Her efforts were reported in the Honolulu Advertiser. The students from La Pietra School read the article and were inspired to join her campaign. Together, they collected over 1,300 signatures. Followed a meeting with the then mayor, Mufi Hanneman, it was decided to keep the crosswalk. The Honolulu Advertiser, Bob Krause, christened her the one-woman crosswalk crusader. Dolores Mulring lived at Kukui Plaza from its opening in 1976 and served on the board of Kukui Plaza Homeowners Association. She was also a part of the Chinatown Business and Community Association and received a plaque for her service in the 2012 Chinatown Heroes Banquet. Dolores was often seen on local TV news speaking out for the people of downtown neighborhood, also featured in the Honolulu Rail Transit promotional video. In 2008, an article in the Honolulu Weekly, Dolores was described as an outspoken, energetic woman who has opinions on everything from crime control to moped parking laws. In that article, she was also asked if she was why she was involved with the Citizen Patrol. These days, she said, crime pretty much has to hit people in the head for them to join us. Other than that, they just bitch and complain. During her many years of service to downtown Honolulu, Dolores did a lot more than just bitch and complain. For all that she has done for our neighborhood, I humbly ask for the board's support in commissioning a plaque in her honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We do appreciate that. And for all of us that got to know your mom, she was the light of our lives. Yeah? So do we have any questions from our public right here today? None? Any questions from our public online? None. Any questions from our board members? We'll start off with board member Robert Armstrong.
I don't know if this, thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know if it's appropriate to you or to our speaker, Laura. Is any tax money being used for the plaque?
No. CBCA.
Thank you very much.
All right. Board member Lai.
Chair, and thank you for your comments, Laura. It certainly was my pleasure to get to work with your mom in many different capacities over the years, and of course with Citizen Patrol being one of those primary areas. I am wondering, is there a plan for the location of this plaque? And it'd be nice to know where you'd like to place it.
We're talking about Upper 4th Street Mall, closer to Kukui Plaza on the church side. It's going to be a round plaque that's going to be somehow set into the
Ground.
yeah, ground. Thank you. That, you know, the thing down below that you walk on.
All right, thank you. Do we have any other further questions? All right, so she's asking for approval. So do we have a motion? Oh, sorry about that. Go ahead, Russ.
Well, I just want to say thank you. I never got a chance to meet your mom, but she sounds like a wonderful person with all her accomplishments, especially thankful for that crosswalk because, all about making this a walkable city. So that's great. I would like to make a motion to support the installation of the plaque.
I second it.
Okay, we got a first and a second. Do I hear any discussions on this? I hear none. Does anyone oppose this? Seeing none, we can go ahead and declare this as passed.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Thank you to your mom. We love your mom. All right, so for those that didn't know Dolores, she brought so much life to all of us. So next, we're gonna go ahead and move on to public concerns. This is 2 minutes for each one that wants to speak up on public concerns, yeah? And I'll be timing this 2 minutes, all right? So is there anyone here in attendance that wants to speak up on public concerns? See none, hear none. Anyone in the public that's online that wants to speak on public concerns? Hearing none, see none. So board members may speak during public concerns because there are residents, but they're asked not to speak about anything that's already on the agenda since it's an agenda and we will touch it. So is there any other board member? Is there a board member who would like to speak on public concerns? All right, hearing none, see none, I'll go ahead and just say something really quick for a public concern, and then be just straightforward. So for all of those that were expecting to have Hullabaloo this year, Hullabaloo has been canceled. All right, Hullabaloo has been canceled, just to letting the public know. All right, so we'll go ahead and move forward. So our next on the agenda is our elected officials. We'll start with Governor Josh Green's representative, Sean Hamamoto. Sean, not seeing Sean there. We'll go ahead and move on to Mayor Rick Blangiotti's representative, Ian Sante.
So we don't have the mayor's rep present tonight. There were several concerns raised at the past meeting. I can add those to the board's Google Drive and you can review them in length and detail.
All right. Next, we have City Council District 6, Tyler DeSantos Thames, Representative Richmond.
Hey guys, can everybody hear me? Cool. So I wanted to talk about two things relating to policy specifically. So Monster Homes Bill 44. I know we've mentioned this before, but we are going to be sending out a official communication to all of the neighborhood boards in our district, requesting something on the record from you guys in terms of what penalties you would prefer us include into the bill. We will probably be sending it out next Monday. So we're going to finish drafting it later this week, and we'll send it out on Monday. So just keep that in mind. Keep a lookout for it, and we'll send it to you guys directly as well. The other thing is we just dropped a package for game rooms. I know I mentioned this last month, but we anticipate this is going to be a really hot button issue. I mean, it generally is a hot button issue in general, but there was a ton of discussion on it in first reading at the council meeting yesterday. And we need just as much support as possible from you guys, from our other neighborhood boards, from HPD, as it makes its way through the legislative process. Outside of that, we went to visit some of the housing units at Mauna Kea Marketplace, which was super cool. We were showed by Ave some of the units and learned a little bit more about how many units were lost because of this windows requirement, going back to the Bill 21 that died recently. So we are going to be putting together more comprehensive housing code revisions as we continue to engage with stakeholders and try to give downtown and Chinatown more opportunities for housing. Yeah. So with that, any questions from anybody?
All right, thank you very much. So we'll start with those in attendance here at the school library. Is there anyone that has any questions for our city council members representative? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll go to a WebEx. Anyone have any questions for our city representative? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll go to our board. Anyone on the board, and we'll start off with board member Travis Thompson, please.
Hi, thanks for being here. Oh, sorry, thank you, Chair. We heard from the fire department today that there was a pedestrian struck by a vehicle. I'm curious what council member is doing to help with pedestrian safety, specifically in Chinatown, as we try to improve walkability.
Right. I mean, primarily the existing mechanisms for us to address pedestrian safety are through the budget. So last year, or this last fiscal year, one of the things we did was try to get lights along the Hotel Street bus stops, because that had been a concern from a public safety standpoint, from a crime standpoint, but also from a visibility standpoint. Outside of that, pedestrian safety is a huge huge issue throughout the district in general. So I'm not sure if you guys have heard about this 5-way stop at Prospect and Alapai. But we've been having a lot of town halls, things about trying to create a 5-way stop sign, trying to talk about it being about. We put a couple $100,000, I think, in the budget last year to address that as well. So it's certainly a priority. And then as we go into next budget season, because we're going to start needing to draft those amendments, we would love to hear your guys' input on particularly dangerous areas that can be addressed through that process.
All right, next we'll go ahead with board member Robert Armstrong, esteemed.
Thank you, Chair. Welcome, Richmond. Thank you for being here. Have you had a chance to follow up on the curb cut at Baratania and River Street?
I believe Lynn was able to submit a riser in the last month.
Super, great.
Yeah.
And the second question was, last month we heard sort of distressingly that all these wonderful new cameras, and I think Member Lai also mentioned it today, have been installed, but none of them have been kind of put together so that they're comprehensively watched or paid attention to in the police department. Do you know if the council member is working on that or is it in the hands of the police department now, or where is that in terms of the public feeling more safe about the camera system that we work so hard to bring here?
I know we've been talking with Calvin Sung generally about the installation of the cameras and how the extent to which they're monitoring them. I think I'm going to see him next week, so I can raise it with him when we discuss it. Yeah, and just get a better understanding of that. But it's certainly a priority.
All right, thank you. So next we have board member Sean Fitzsimmons.
Hey, how's it going, Richmond? Thanks. Thank you, Chair. You mentioned monster homes at the onset of your presentation. Just out of curiosity, is there any monster homes in downtown and Chinatown?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I was just wondering if I missed.
Not that I know of.
I was like, where are they?
Not unless Walmart is turning into a monster home right now.
And most interestingly, you mentioned that there's a bunch of poignant discussions regarding game rooms and the legislation proposed yesterday. Could you provide more details as to what those discussions pertain to? I know game rooms are a big issue in our district specifically, so we'd like more insight if possible.
So there are, just to give you guys more details on the package, so there are 3 measures. There's a resolution and 2 bills. Bill 57 and Bill 58 are the bills. Resolution 23-228 is the resolution. I'll start with the resolution. So the resolution basically urges all of the existing city agencies who have jurisdiction over game rooms to work together. Bill 57 includes illegal gambling in game rooms in our existing nuisance abatement law. So it does 2 things basically. So number 1, it would go through the building and housing codes so that we would be able to cite landlords for allowing game rooms to exist and continue on their property. So it give DPP some more tools basically to do that. And it would also give Corporation Counsel the authority to go after some of these landlords legally if the prosecuting attorney's office decides not to do it. And then Bill 58, it's called relating to authorized personnel, but it basically allows HPD, if HPD and DPP agree, it allows HPD to cite game rooms for violations of building code, housing code, and things like that. Because one of the problems generally is that sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. One of the problems is that a DPP employee can't be expected to go into a place that has drugs, crime, things like that. And a lot of times they're resistant to doing so. So if HPD and DPP are on the same page, they can designate officers if they're walking in to raid a game room to look around and say, oh, that's exposed wiring, or this is violating the building code in X, Y, and Z. A DPP employee will come after it's raided and verify those things, and it can help us, add more tools to shut these things down.
Thank you. Next, we have board member Ross Isakane, please.
Hey, Richmond. I wanted to ask about Bill 9 from 2022. That's the vacancy tax.
Yeah.
Now, targeting potentially non-resident investors who are buying up properties, leaving them vacant, no longer in the housing stock. Our affordable housing crisis is only getting worse.
Right.
My understanding was that bill, I think it was proposed by Tommy Waters. I think that it was suspended indefinitely. I don't think it was put to a vote. My understanding, it was recently put up for an RFP to study it further. This is an issue that I think is really important to our city, certainly. And I would just love to hear Councilmember Dos Santos Tam's thoughts on what is the status of this RFP, what is the potential timeline for a vote on either Bill 9 or a similar bill. You don't have to have all the answers, but
So it is certainly a longer term project. In talking with Budget Chair Radiant Cordero, they're going to do a PIG, which is a permitted interaction group, with a couple of the council members. I don't believe Tyler's going to be on it because he's not on the budget committee, but they will do a larger. They're planning to do a larger scale assessment of, no pun intended, of the entire real property tax system. So any measures that are relating to real property tax, besides some of the relief measures because of the valuation thing that came out recently. Anything besides that, they are kind of holding off until after they do this PIG.
All right, thank you very much. Let me go to Mr. Lai first, and I'll come back to you. Go ahead, board member Lai, please.
Thank you, Chair. Richmond, I just wanted to follow up on a comment from member Armstrong before regarding the camera system. I've spoken with Major Sung many times for the past couple of years about the monitoring of the array of cameras. There's plenty of literature that says that having a human person watching one, much less two or more screens, really quickly will lose interest or the ability to discern actions of concern. Comments from Major Sung recently in the newspaper, or maybe from a television news show, suggested that there might be an opening now to using software to augment or assist with monitoring of the array of 30 plus cameras. If you or council member do speak with him, could you let us know if there's been a change in stance on that? Because earlier it had been concerned that it would be too invasive or that the public wouldn't accept that type of assistance. But technology is continuing to advance, so I'd be happy to know what the position of the city and HPD is on that matter. Thank you.
Got it. Okay. I'm writing it down now.
All right. All right, so thank you. We appreciate that. Next, we'll go to board member Sean Fitzsimmons for one more time, and then we'll end up with me. Okay, please. Thank you.
Sorry for peppering you with all these
No
questions.
worries.
The game room stuff is interesting to me, and you mentioned the nuisance being like the mechanism to address the game rooms, right? But nuisances, there's two different types of nuisance, right? There's private and public. Public nuisance would occur to public, like a beach or something. Someone failed to clean up a beach, and it would occur on public property. Private nuisance would have to be asserted by someone whose private land is affected by someone else's maintenance of maintaining a nuisance. So the takeaway would be the person who would have standing to assert a nuisance claim against a game room would have to be able to assert that their private property is being affected by that nuisance, which would limit the amount of people that could assert a claim against that prospective game room, right? As to only the people whose properties were affected. Is that how the bill is, or the resolution is currently drafted?
So part of the public nuisance, bill is modeled after an existing ordinance that is for prostitution, and it's the same thing where if a private property has a certain amount of criminal convictions, they will a corporation council has the right to declare it a public nuisance and go after it, basically. The difference between this and that ordinance is that this kind of the mechanism for declaring it as a public nuisance, there's an additional mechanism that is a certain amount of electronic gaming machines included on that property. And if DPP finds that, they're able to declare it a public nuisance, issue an NOV and things like that.
No, you have
I don't know that like through my work and stuff that a lot of the game rooms nowadays don't operate through like machines. They operate through cell phone devices. And what happens is that people actually go to stores to buy credits, and then they actually play the game on the cell phone. And it obviates the necessity to have a big space to facilitate big machines. So have you guys looked into addressing that aspect of game room gambling? You know, the app on the cell phone stuff.
No, that's a really good point. We haven't looked into the apps on the cell phone right now. From what our discussions with HPD, one of the ideas they actually floated was kind of having like a permitting process for anybody to have electronic gaming machines in their period. So that was the eventual route they wanted to get to, but it's a really good point to address some of the mobile things. Let me write it down. Right.
All right, thank you. So before we end with me, I'm going to go back to board member Travis Thompson, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the second question. We just wanted an update on the former Walmart and kind of what was going to be done with that space. If the city council actually has any bearing on that and what kind of the thoughts are going forward.
I think Chair would actually know a little bit better than I would, because he's, you're.
No. So there is a discrepancy. So somehow HPU say they're not involved with it, but yet their email is very vague. You have to actually technically go down there. They're actually working inside of it right now, but they're trying to be very hush-hush about who's taking it over at this point. I am looking into it at this time because I know we all want to know what's going on in there. Yeah, I would prefer Target, something that has shopping center and something for the people. Yeah, but yeah. So because you guys don't know yet. So
Thank you for taking that one for me.
all right. Okay, so I want to end this, and I want to show you a couple pictures, please. So this week we had all the Mid-Autumn Moon Festivals from the CIDs to the downtown art. And it was great to see all the kids that were involved in there having a good time and those that were playing basketball. But unfortunately, if you look at these pictures, you see that the entrance is blocked by the homeless who are doing drug deals. And I'll send this picture to you guys, who are doing drug deals right there in front of the entrance. And nothing is being done. I understand we need to be compassionate, and the police cannot remove any of their things because of what's going on with the ACLU suit, which I was at yesterday, but they're doing drugs outright in front of the public. So is there any way that we can get HPD to position people there also? Because it's getting terrible. No one wants to go into a nice, clean park that's been taken care of, that's been redone, and take the children there when we've got all these people right here with all the drugs and doing all the drugs in this. I mean, I'm going to send you guys this, but
I know Eric sent some. I've seen these photos before. Eric sent those to us. I know Lynn submitted a few risers related to those homeless, those photos specifically.
Yeah, so-
and they were attached in the communication with the departments.
So I have more that were sent to me by residents in the cities. They're fed up. They want to use the park, and the park is a great place now. How can our residents and their children use the park? The basketball court has been redone. The mural on the park the bunny has been redone. Everything's getting there. Plus with the fact that you guys want to introduce pickleball into the park. So we need to make sure that the residents and the children can use this park instead of staying out of it because This has been blocked all day long. They're there. As soon as it's open at 5 in the morning to whenever. And so no one wants to even walk in it.
Right.
So you don't have to answer the question, but get back with me on it. Yeah?
Got it.
Okay, I appreciate that. All right. We'll go ahead and move. We thank you for your time, Richmond,
Thank you,
as
guys.
usual. Nice seeing you again.
Seeing you guys.
You take care. Before we head on to the governor, so let's go ahead and finish going where we're at, and then I'll go ahead with Sean once we're done with this. Next up will be State Senator Carl Rose. His representative should be here online.
Hi, yes. My name is Sarah Thorne, and I am a legislative intern for Senator Rhodes, and he is unable to be here, but I will be relaying all of his messages. So starting off, I received word from the Hawaii Department of Transportation that they did not receive federal grant money for the Cat Park project. I will follow up with HDOT to find out if they're still going to pursue this project and will report to the board with any updates. I also plan to contact US DOT to see what other possibilities they will be. The red light safety program only issued citations for vehicles that are running red lights as opposed to those that are turning illegally on red. Currently, there are 10 intersections that are live for citations and which have totaled up to 6,877 citations that have been issued. Yesterday, the Department of Health reported 642 new COVID cases with a 7-day average of 93 cases and 17 deaths. COVID-19 remains the top 10 causes of death in this country and has claimed the lives of more than 1.1 million Americans. I will strongly encourage you to get your shots and boosters. A new shot should now be available. I also encourage you to wear your mask inside, especially if you or someone you live with is at risk. We are having a little bit of a resurgence, and the virus is still circulating. And with that, flu shots are now available. Please do not hesitate to call my office at 808-586-6130 with any questions or concerns, or you can please email at senroads@capital.hawaii.gov.
All right, thank you. So do we have any questions for the Senator Carl Rose Representative Sarah from those in attendance here? Seeing none. From the public on WebEx? Seeing none, we'll go ahead to our board. Any members on our board? We'll start off with esteemed board member,
Okay.
Robert
Wow,
Armstrong.
he must want something. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sarah, we brought this up last month, and I know you just addressed it a moment ago, but not really completely, and that is that I thought the whole idea of the red light cameras was to deter, what is essentially criminal activity by drivers. You can argue the word criminal, but anyways, the website on the Hawaii Department of Transportation hasn't been updated since July 3rd, and we brought that up. Do you know why that is? And are they going to use this as a way to demonstrate that the red light cameras are effective, or are we just gonna let the city and county take revenue without any oversight?
So I do not know personally why the website has not been updated, but this week I will go ahead and email and find that out, and I can bring back an answer to you at next month's meeting.
All right, thank you. Do we have any other board members that has any other further questions? All right, so now we'll go back to those online. Go ahead, board member Kevin Lai, please.
Thank you, Chair. And Ms. Thorne, I think we raised this issue but didn't resolve it last month with Senator. Do you know if the red light cameras are designed to work at night to capture?
Yes. So I do believe that they are able to work at night. Again, I will 100% go make sure this week, and I can get back to you at next month's meeting. Yes.
All right, thank you. Do we have any other board members that have any other questions? Seeing none, hearing none. Sarah, I want to thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so
And
much.
have a good day. Thank you
You as
very
well.
much. All right, next, we're going to move on to State House District 26, Scott Psyche. Is he here or a representative? Seeing none, Hearing none, we move down to State House District 28, Representative Daniel Holt. Is Daniel Holt here or any representative of his? See none, hearing none, we'll go ahead and go back up to the top. The governor's representative, Sean Hanamoto, please. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair, Board Member Sean Hamamoto, representing the Governor's Office. I apologize for being late. I did want to highlight one important item. So this is the Hawaii Fire Relief Housing Program, and this is in response to the unfortunate Maui wildfires. I did email this flyer to the chair as well as a link, and I did have some copies up there. But in a nutshell, what this program is, it's trying to pair people and families who lost their homes in the wildfire with people who have available units. And it's not just in Maui, it's for anyone in the state of Hawaii. And it is a very dire need now. So if you or anyone you know may be able to participate in this, please contact this office, which is at the website. I do want to make note that the state cannot reimburse the landowners for this. However, there is a link when you go to this where FEMA has a program where they can reimburse. So I'd encourage everyone to take a look at this, and if you can help, please do. With that, I just have a couple of responses from a previous board meeting from Board Member McDonald. He had a couple of questions that I'm following up on. His first question was he was inquiring why state allowed insurance companies to significantly raise liability insurance rates for businesses. He reported that his liability insurance costs doubled since last year, and this has made it difficult for small businesses to survive, especially since recovering from the pandemic. This answer was provided by our state insurance division, part of DCCA. The response is the insurance division acknowledges that rates for both property and liability are increasing. Business owners should first inquire with their insurance agent for an explanation for the increase. Business owners should also ask their agents for alternative insurance quotes for comparison purposes. If the consumer or agent believes that their rate was not calculated correctly, they may contact the insurance division directly. The Hawaii Insurance Division encourages consumers to speak with an insurance division investigator before filing an inquiry or complaint. In some cases, a resolution is possible without filing a formal complaint with the division. Please call 808-586-2790 between 7:45 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. And there's also an online inquiry/complaint form that can be accessed. And there's a link here, and I'll forward that to the board member when I get back to the office tomorrow. And the second question was, why state allowed HECO to raise costs of electricity so much. These added costs make it difficult for small businesses to survive. This answer was provided by the PUC, Public Utilities Commission. I said, thank you for your question regarding Hawaiian Electric's rates. Because fuel costs represent about half of customer bills, increases in fuel prices are typically the biggest driver in customer bill increases. Over the past couple of years, oil prices have risen dramatically. The price of crude oil rose almost 75% from June 2022 to June 2023. So customers are seeing a corresponding jump in their bills. Additionally, the PUC has allowed Hawaiian Electric to recover costs for certain projects that are necessary for operating the grid safely and for serving customers. The PUC is acutely focused on improving the affordability of customer bills. We are working to reduce costs overall, increase programs to help customers pay their bills, improve energy efficiency, and move the state away from fossil fuels so that we aren't subject to the price volatility of global fuel markets. If you have any more questions or want to talk about ways to better manage your bills, they recommend there's a website hawaiianelectric.com or hawaiienergy.com, and they have some tips about, how you can reduce your electricity bills. And with that, I'm available for any other questions.
All right, so do we have anyone in the audience who has any questions for the governor's representative, Sean Hanamoto? Seeing none, do we have anyone on our webpage that has any questions for our governor's representative, Sean Hanamoto? See none, hearing none, we'll go to oh, yeah, okay, so yeah, Mr. McDonald, go ahead.
Hello, and thank you for coming, and thank you for your answering my questions from the meeting from 3 months ago. I was wondering if since the Hawaiian Electric Company is complaining that increased costs of fuel are affecting their rate hikes, are there plans? We have a presidential election coming up in about a year, and I expect that there will be a change and fuel price to go down. Do they have a plan in place to reduce fuel prices or to reduce energy costs if fuel prices are reduced in the future?
Okay, I'll be happy to bring that back for you.
All right, thank you. Now we'll go to a board. We'll go ahead and start off with board member Travis Thompson.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for being here. The island of Kauai has been able to go to pretty much completely renewable energy. What is the governor doing to kind of cajole HECO into actually doing that on Oahu and some of the neighbor islands?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
What is the governor doing to kind of encourage the HECO to expand renewables so that we don't have to have board member McDonald complaining about energy prices, and we can actually kind of further our fight against climate change?
Okay, I'll be happy to bring that.
No offense to board member McDonald.
Go ahead, board member, esteemed board member Robert Armstrong.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. There's been a lot of press in the last month about, I think, something very troubling to Governor Green as to many citizens, and that is the bullying of political candidates and appointees to the office of housing, as well as the governor's children. I don't really know what kind of question to ask other than, do you think it's going to get better before it gets apparently worse, or that people feel that they have free reign on here in Hawaii on people who are good enough to be involved in the civic engagement of our government? And so what do you think the prognosis is for this? Because I'm really concerned.
No, I don't blame you. Any other board members?
Yeah.
Go ahead, board member Rosses Kane, please.
Hello, Mr. Hamamoto. Question on the Hawaii Fire Relief Housing Program. Are mainland individuals eligible to participate in this program? I've actually had a lot of colleagues on the mainland asking, and I'm just curious.
That's a good question. I'll be sure I'll follow up on that for you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other board members? All right, here none, seeing none, I'll finish this up. So my concern is the rumors are that HECO is going to start to raise their prices because of the fires on Maui, which I think is ridiculous, and they shouldn't do it. If HECO decides to raise the prices because of Maui fires, what is the state going to do to stop that?
Okay, I'll bring that back for you, Chair.
All right. Thank you for your time, Sean. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. All right, thank you. So now we'll go ahead and move to our monthly reports. These are 5 minutes. These are 5 minutes to present and ask questions. So we'll start off with the Honolulu Board of Water Supply, please.
Hi, everyone. Just want to mention on October 21st, Saturday, from 10 to 2 p.m., we'll be at the Freshwater State Recreation Area in Wahiawa. We'll be doing an Imagine a Day Without Water. So we're inviting you guys, the public, to join this event. The There'll be more than 15 city, state, and community organization booths with interactive activities. Learn the importance of One Water and its impact to climate change today and in the future. And so join us for rain barrel and native seed workshops, xeriscape plant craft activity, freshwater fishing activities, and making Genki balls. It's a bioremediation that removes pollutants from the soil and water. So, and there'll be some Ono food and play games and win small prizes. So go to borderwatersupply.com/onewaterhawaii. That's my quick announcement.
All right, thank you very much, Iris. Do we have anybody in attendance here in the library who wishes to ask any questions of Iris from Board of Water Supply? Seeing none, hearing none. Do we have anyone besides board members on the webpage who would like to go ahead, on WebEx, who would like to go ahead and ask any questions? All right, hearing none, seeing none. We'll go ahead and start off this time around with board member Kevin Lai, please.
Chair, Ms. Oda, I wonder if you could comment on comments and possibly objections received to date about the proposed rate increases sequentially over the next 5 years for the water, and if you anticipate that there will actually be a reduction in that 10%, 10%, 9%, 8.5%, et cetera, cascade over the next couple of years.
Okay, I don't have any personal response to this because I'm not, I haven't heard, I'm not included in that discussion at work. So all I can really, I can bring your guys' questions to them and they'll have to provide me the updated response. So I could ask them about how they'll be addressing any proposed rate. I guess people that are not for the rate and how if there's a reduction. Is that what you want me to ask?
Yes, and
comment?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. But acutely, do you know if the deadline for submission of comments is about to pass?
I think, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have that paper in front of me. I thought it was October 18th, but I could get back to you on that and have our communications office call you about that personally.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Is your contact on the neighborhood board site too, so that we can call you? Okay, thanks.
Yes, it is. All right. Any other board members on our board? All right, seeing none and hearing none. Thank you, Iris. You have a great day and thank you for joining us. Next, we have Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transit. Hart, Mr. Cho, long time no see. Harry, can you hear me? All right, going one more time. Harry, can you hear me? I see you online. All right, so we'll go ahead and.
Chair, may I ask a question of you?
Yes,
while
please.
we're waiting for Harry to come on? I know you've been working with or trying to get the Department of Transportation Services, which is similar to HART. They're the ones who run our bus company, to address us as we have asked in the past. Are you having any success with that?
Yeah, I'll answer that question real quick. We're doing a real quick wait. So the answer to that is a complete no. They do not want to come here. They are not returning my calls. So I have actually sent a direct message to the mayor about this because they're refusing us. Apparently, how they're structured is, so for every question that we ask, there's some individual answering that question. So apparently no one within that entity knows everything. So they have individuals. So that's what they're saying, which I can see a business running that way. Yeah.
So if we have a question, will someone come and if we pre-present a question, will they come and answer it at the meeting, or they just send us a response by email?
So they will not come here at the meeting, but I'm going to make sure this changes. Trust me. So the questions should be asked to Mr. Santi, the city representative. He's the one that would give them the questions, and that's how it will break down at this time. But we are trying to get them, and I am strongly trying to get them here. All right. Thank you. All right, Harry, Joe, can you hear me now?
Yes, sorry about that. That was the worst time for my Wi-Fi to cut out. I apologize for that. Good evening, everyone. Actually, I don't think I had a chance to introduce myself to the new board yet. My name's Harry Cho with the Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation, or HART. We're the city agency that oversees the construction of the rail project. So nice to meet you all. The only update I have this month is on lane closures in the area. Our contractor is continuing with utility relocation work through downtown and Chinatown, and that does require some lane closures. First on Nimitz Highway on Mondays to Saturdays during the daytime from 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. There may be up to 2 lanes closed on Nimitz Highway in both directions between Richards and River Street. In addition, some of the right turns from Nimitz onto the intersection streets may be closed intermittently, which would require just a short detour to the next right turn. And lastly, also on Mondays to Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., the Nimitz cutoff to Iwilei Road down by 215 North King may be closed intermittently through the end of the year. And that also requires a short detour to Sumner Street. Just to note, all of these closures have been ongoing on and off for several months now. So it shouldn't be any different from what you've been seeing driving through Nimitz. But if there's any other changes or new closures, I'll be sure to provide an update. But that's all I had to share tonight, and I can take any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone in our library that has any questions from the public? Seeing none, hearing none. So do we have anyone online on the webpage that has any questions? I see Mr. McDonald. Mr. McDonald, please.
Hello, Harry. Nice to see you again. I just have a quick question. If Hart has any comment on the recent drop in ridership of this very expensive project. It seems like there's been a big drop in the people that are wanting to use this transportation service, and if Hart has any comments on that.
So technically, HART, we just oversee the construction of the rail project, and operations of the rail project is overseen by the Department of Transportation Services. But this, I mean, I could give my opinion on it. It's a new rail system that just opened to the public. I believe there was actually an increase in ridership, which I've seen on the news, and which is also on DTS's website. There was actually an increase in ridership ever since the new school session started. So, it may take some time, but eventually, I believe the numbers will get back up there.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Next, we're going to go to board. Oh, is there anyone else in the public online? Nope. So next, we're going to the board. We'll go to board member Kevin Lai, please.
Harry, I know you just differentiated the difference in HART and DTS, but can you reiterate for us what the estimates are for what a rider pays to ride the rail for a trip versus what is being subsidized to cover that ride versus what you think it might be down the road when you do reach closer to full ridership, or at least the anticipated or modeled values, where there'll still be a significant subsidy that's being paid to cover the cost for each rider on the train?
That may be more of a operations question. But my understanding is most or pretty much all public transportation systems are subsidized by the government. So I don't think that would be any different from Honolulu's rail system as well.
All right. If you can get us a follow-up on that, I think that's a great question. If we can get and find out what it is. All right. We appreciate that. Kevin, is there anything else you need to say?
No, thank you, Chair. I would point out, yes, they are often subsidized, but I wonder if it's at a 10-to-1 ratio as what we have seen with some of the figures that were cited earlier. And granted, if ridership does increase, those values will change. And we do know that HART or the rail is planning to operate at what might be a 8 or even 9-figure deficit annually. But so it's going to take a bit of riders to make up for that shortfall. Thank you.
I could definitely check with the Department of Transportation Services to see if they have any projections on that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cho. So do we have any other board members on this side? We're going to go ahead and start off with board member Travis Thompson, please.
Hi, thank you, Chair, and thank you for being here from Hart. One quick or two quick questions. Sorry. One is, do you know if all the roads in Honolulu are subsidized, and you know how much we're paying for those individually, and what the ratio is for that? It's okay. You can answer me later. The other
No,
question.
sorry, I'm not sure if that pertains to Hart. So we oversee the construction of the rail project, but you were asking about construction of public roads.
I'm just asking if you know what the comparison is of how much we're paying for the roads versus how much we're paying for the rail, and how much people are paying individually to ride on each individual road, and if it's more or less than 10 to 1.
No, Hart, we wouldn't have any information on, you know, how much roads cost. That might be a question for the city DTS or state DOT.
Okay, and then sorry, second question is, I do actually know someone who took the rail, and they had a complaint that they didn't have access to any bathrooms. Do you know, are they planning to have bathrooms available for people? And you know, are there any temporary plans in the meantime if those aren't constructed yet? What are kind of the plans to make it more easier for people to use the facilities? Thank you.
Again, so this is a question for the Department of Transportation Services. Hart, we oversee just the construction of the rail project, just the construction of the rail project. Anything related to passenger service and operations would be for the Department of Transportation Services. But my understanding is there are bathrooms at every rail station. However, it's restricted access. So it's not open to the public, and it's only for emergency use. But again, maybe perhaps the mayor's rep or DTS can provide a follow-up to that, but that's my understanding of the restroom situation at all the stations.
All right, so I can partially answer your question. So unlike Europe and Asia, where there are bathrooms at those stops, in America, they don't seem to put bathrooms at our stops, and they cite security as a big risk for that. And the second biggest risk is the money. And I could send you some of these reports that I found. Okay, you're welcome. Next, board member Ross Isukane, please.
Hello, Mr. Cho. I had a question just around construction impacts to the small businesses along the construction line. You know, I mean, some of the construction along Dillingham I know has been going on for a while, and it's probably going to continue for a while. It's coming into our neighborhood. A lot of the small businesses are being impacted just based on the lack of ability to get there. Does Hart have any programs, or is this more of a city issue on just potential relief to consider for these businesses? Not just the landlords, but I'm talking the actual businesses, potentially tenants. Thank you.
Right. So Hart, on our end, we do what we can in terms of public outreach and public notification to ensure businesses and property owners are notified if there's any construction that may be impacting them. But in terms of actual assistance to businesses, that's something that Hart does not have any. So Hart doesn't have any programs, and we don't administer any programs that assist any businesses like financially. I believe there is a city. I might have to check with the city council member's office, but I believe there is something that's moving through council that might that's involved with affected businesses along the rail alignment. So I might need to check in with the council member's office, and maybe I can get back to you next month, or perhaps they could provide a report on that as well. So we can check on that and get back to you next month.
All right, thank you for that. Do we have any other board members that wishes to address Harry Cho? Seeing none, hearing none. Harry, it's great seeing you again. You have an awesome day. See you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next up, we have Safe Haven, Greg Payton.
Well, thank you, Chair and board members. If you can hear me okay. My name is Greg Payton. I serve as Executive Director for Mental Health Kokua, or MHK. One of our programs was Safe Haven, located at 126 Pauahi Street in Chinatown at Pauahi Holly. I say was because we have officially moved out of Pauahi Holly. We are completely out of the building. thanks to Anton Krucky and the city and county of Honolulu, who are going to repurpose the building. And I don't think a decision's been made exactly what the purpose of the building will be for. We have downsized our presence in the community by about 50% in Chinatown with our services. And we have placed, all the people in the building were placed in other locations around Oahu, not just in Honolulu. And so that's my report, unless you have any other questions you might have.
Do we have any questions from those in attendance here at the school library? Seeing none, hearing none. Do we have any questions from the public online? Hearing none, seeing none. Do we have any questions from any of our board members? Hearing none, seeing none. Thank you, Greg. You have an awesome day. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Next, we have Chinatown Improvement District. Lee Stack, please.
Good evening, everyone. Lee Stack for the Chinatown Improvement District. We're a 501c3 operating in the Chinatown area. We just held our Autumn Moon and Lantern Festival last Friday. We had more than 500 attendees. We got very good feedback on it. People came with their families. There were games, there were prizes, there were lantern making activities for kids, most of it free. And people seemed to have a really good time. It was also really great to see people using the park, playing in the park, there with their families, playing in the equipment. It's just really nice to see the park being utilized that way, if just for that day mostly. And then we also worked, another component of the festival is we work with the businesses in Chinatown to hang lanterns outside their business. And we're growing that. Last year, I think we had about 80 businesses participate. This year, we hung over 130 lanterns. And people were really excited about them. And some of them wanted the lanterns early and they wrote on them or they decorated them. And that's exciting to see too, because when people go through, it makes it different. You know, each business, like Wing Ice Cream, he put cones on the bottom of his lanterns to look like ice cream cones. So it was fun. I think people really enjoyed that. We do have photos and a recap of the event are available for viewing on our Facebook page. And you can just search for Chinatown Improvement District on Facebook. And then I did want to thank, I have done it on Facebook, but I did want to thank the organizations that participated. So there were the Lions and the Leos and the Masons, and Ben Franklin Crafts came and did crafts for people. Child and Family Service was there. Hawaii Heritage Center was there. The American Chinese University Women were there. So there were a lot of different groups there also participating. It was a lot of fun.
All right. Do we have any questions from anyone in our audience here at the library today? Hearing none, seeing none. Do we have any questions from the public online? Hearing none, seeing none. Do we have any questions from any board members? Board member Ross Isokane, please.
Hello. I recall, you might have to refresh my memory a little bit, but last board meeting, there was a little bit of a contention with another organization that had conflicting events, I think, that weekend. I was just curious what potentially the resolution on that was, if there were any major issues with two events happening. I mean, we love the events happening in our neighborhood. We think it's great, but do you have any thoughts or recommendations on what you think we could have done, or just what everyone involved could have done to improve that situation?
I think, I doubt that will happen again. I mean, Parks actually took control of the situation. So Parks said that this group can work in the park on this day and this group will be in the park on that day. So there really was no overlap or conflict. So I thought that was a good resolution.
All right. So furthermore, Ross, I worked with both these groups in helping set everything up and all that. And I like to say there was no problem. But in the future, Sandra Poe has decided that instead of doing an event on the same week the CID is, should do it in another week, which is more responsible. All right. So it did work out in the end. All right. Thank you. Any other questions? Board member Sean Fitzsimmons.
Hi, Ms. Stack. Thank you again for showing up. Just quick question, with the news that Hullabaloo is canceled, what is Chinatown Improvement District's position on that on that bit of information.
We don't have an official position on it. Are you expecting us to have one? We don't meet and decide yay or nay on hullabaloo. So if you're asking for my personal opinion, happy to give that to you, but not as a member of the CID, presenting for the
Well,
CID.
the reason why I'm asking is because one of the tenets of CID is to promote economic development within our district. And the events that you just put on, like promoted economic development with the lanterns and everything, and community participation with the local businesses here. Similar arguments could be made for the Hullabaloo event, which would fall in line with the economic development goals that CID has. So that's why I thought maybe CID would have an opinion on Hullabaloo not being taking place this year.
Until I have a position from the board, I can't really say what the CID's position is on hullabaloo or not.
Yeah, so the board approved it or not?
Your board, I'm talking about our board. I represent an organization. So I can't just speak off the cuff and say, oh, they feel this or that.
Right.
I mean,
No,
we
understood.
haven't taken a position on it.
That's understood. I do appreciate that. All right. Any other questions? Hearing none, I want to thank you very much. The event was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Next, we're going to move on to Chinatown Business Community Association. Fortunately, Shulon cannot be here at this time, but hold on one second. So she asked me to read this report. So Chinatown Business Community Association report. One monthly meeting held on September 12th, 2023 at 10 a.m. at Legends Private Dining Room. Discussion centered in crime reduction efforts and upcoming CBC 14 Chinatown Heroes Banquet on October 21st, 2023 at 6 p.m. at Legends. Next CBCA meeting to be held on October 10th, 2023 at 10 a.m. Dr. Sunya's son 118 Memorial Parade and lay draping on Sunday, October 8, 2023 at 10 a.m. at the Chinese Cultural Plaza. And of course, the Moon Festival events, which happened on September 29, 23 at Smith Barrett Park by CID and the Chinese Cultural Plaza by 808 Chinatown and Chinese Chamber of Commerce. Any questions from the public? Seeing none, hearing none. Any questions from those online? Hearing none, seeing none. Any questions from the board? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on. The next will be Neighborhood Citizens Patrol. Kevin Lai, please.
Thank you, Chair. And we are consolidating several months of reports as we've had to defer for the past couple. So we'll blitzkrieg through here. Just want to remind everyone to stay safe and stay out of the way of school buses coming down through our district. You're not going to win that battle. But what do you notice about these vehicles here on Hotel Street? They're both civilian vehicles in the wrong place at the wrong time. Again, I think that we need to work with DTS to make some more prominent signage to prevent this from happening. We've discussed folks in our neighborhood who need assistance, and this gentleman was discussed in the past with Mr. Santee and trying to get CORE to meet with him, a gentleman who's admitted that he needs some help. The issue that's been raised, and we hope to get some resolution on this, is how to find this gentleman when CORE is not available, or if it's perhaps after hours. And there is actually research about this, how to work with tracking homeless individuals and finding ways to provide them with a marker or a token of some type so that they can get help when it's needed, especially if services aren't available at that particular time. So I hope that we can find a way to work with our local support crews to have some way to help our citizens who are in need. Some others are just always hanging out and visiting other places. Some are also often relaxing. But I want to bring your attention to a recent citizen patrol back in August. We were out patrolling the area. We found some downed drone systems. We found some potentially new curb cutouts, although I think this is different from the area that Member Armstrong has requested. We came across some areas with some large sidewalk obstructing areas with lots of junk blocking the bicycle lanes. I don't think any of us should really think this should be permitted or become available and routine in our neighborhood. Nice friendly dog there tied to the wire there, but bam, wow, that guy was fast and he bit me on the leg. and caused a bit of an issue, but fortunately, HPD was able to come, and appreciate some help from the guys in blue who helped out. And hopefully we'll see some resolution to this. The point being made is that had these structures not been there, there would have been no need to walk in the middle of the bike lane, risking treachery from both vehicles and from animals who were there. So I guess the guard dog was back the next day, so we'll see where that goes. But the blue tents are not exclusive to that street. They are coming to our part of the town as well. This was the corner of South Kukui Street and Nu'uanu Avenue. And the people in there said they had had some good vibes from that corner. So that's why they came and pitched their tent there. This image on the right was a construction zone, and I'm not sure how much of a sidewalk thickening project will be underway to raise up to the level of that fire extinguisher, but we'll keep an eye on that. This was next to the YMCA on Poly Highway. Right outside the school building now where the meeting's underway, there has been this road closed sign in a median, and it's becoming one of those places that we saw with some of the pictures posted earlier, frequently used for nefarious purposes. Issues with the shopping carts, again, I think there's been some legislation proposed about how to better address that. Maybe we can get an update on that from our city council rep next month. Crossing the bridge that goes over Queen Emma Street from the back of the YMCA over to one of the schools. Climbing the bridge, you'll see again storage area for supplies, who knows what, but it's really an established place with plastic containers, coolers, ready to go at any time. We see lots of activities going behind government keep out trespassing fences with borrowing a Bicky bike to go down the hill next to the highway. I'm not sure where that was going. Bird Patrol, always there, but we're not going to focus on that too much this month. The gentleman who always carved sticks on Bethel Street appears to have been evicted from his alcove because they brought down the metal gate and put in a door there. So I haven't seen the gentleman out and about, but hopefully he's doing okay. Some people get angry and kick doors and throw things and bust up class. It's really no fun for anybody. Our local graffiti artist did a good job of matching the paint to the foliage next to this utility box, but others are still there giving us the CME, and Magnalee is there on the far right. If you get a chance to read this in freeze frame, she writes some pretty disturbing things around town. And of course, the larger bubble artists are getting their word out there as well. Not always the best. Now, next to the Capitol building, we do know that there are congregations of people who are visiting there on a regularly, almost permanent basis. This is the reverse angle view. We do see that going on there, right on the Capitol grounds. And maybe that's where one of the next Kauhale establishments may need to be. This, however, is the sidewalk leading to the Kauhale set of 10 structures that is in the back of the Department of Education building. So we do have this buildup of material there that we need to address. Lastly, this gentleman who's chronically seen near the bus stop near the Beretania and Punch Bowl, if only he'd gone a few meters away, someone had tried to set up a facility for him, but it's not exactly the ideal situation, but hopefully we can find some better outcomes soon. I welcome everyone to join the Citizens Patrol, usually the second Tuesday of each month at 7 p.m. from Diamond Head Tower Lobby at Kukui Plaza. But for the next 2 months, we won't be having a hosted patrol. You're free to join and capture and send to me any pictures that you'd like to be brought to the public's attention, and particularly to those of our elected officials. And I'm happy to compile them for you at any time. Thank you, Chair, for the chance to present this information from previous months.
You're very welcome. So next, we would like to ask anybody online if you have any questions, because they're right now, online that has any questions for Kevin? For Board Member Kevin? Live? None? Sir, do you have any questions for Board Member Lai? Nope. Any board members have any questions? Go ahead, Board Member Travis.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Lai. I would request a favor when you're doing these rounds, if you could try to keep track of how many public restrooms are available. Just, I agree, I don't like seeing people use the facilities on the street, but it would be interesting to know that we could bring to our representative officials to see how many are actually available. Just, obviously not a formal count, but just in general, what your estimate would be. Thank you.
Great idea. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, go ahead, Board Member Armstrong.
Thank you very much. I wanted to also act, what's the word? I want to say second what, I don't know, all of a sudden I couldn't think of English. That's a little scary. I wanted to second Member Thompson's comments about the restrooms and the fact that city officials don't think that that's important for our public. And thank you for bringing up, Board Member Lai, the graffiti issue. It's, I think, a huge scourge in our community. It's very anti-business and certainly detracts, what is wrong with me? Detracts from the quality of life that all of us have in the Chinatown downtown neighborhood. And the fact that none of our elected officials, including our city council member, thinks that that's important is just a travesty. And I thank you for pointing it out. And then finally, I just need to say, the connection that we have with you right now is so unbelievably clear and perfect. You have a quicker response to our questions and comments from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, than some people did here on this island that we heard who have attended this meeting. It's amazing and really instructive as to the bandwidth and the speed of the internet in a first world nation like Malaysia versus a developing state like Hawaii.
All right, thank you very much. So I'm going to cut it off there unless there's anybody else who wants to. I appreciate your comments, Board Member Armstrong. So before we finish up, I do have Patrick Smith. Go ahead, Patrick. Mr. Smith?
Hey, Patrick. I see that you're not muted, but we're not getting any audio from you.
What now?
Yes.
Oh, so sorry. That was my problem. I had wanted to follow up about the graffiti, and I wondered if you had any specific information about how the city can be helpful. But I guess based on Mr. Armstrong's response, I assume the city hasn't been very helpful at all. So thank you.
No, thank you very much, Patrick. I'm surprised you're not here today, but yeah, the city has not been very responsible to respond to us on this. As far as the bathrooms go, I've been talking with the city about those bathrooms. They're looking to put some portable, but they did promise us back in 2016 that Smith Baratania Park would have it. So I want to thank you guys, and we're going to move on from here on. I'm asking the board if we can be exact and precise so that we can go ahead and get this meeting over with, because we're at that time that we're close to. So the next we have is going to be unfinished business. So that's resolution 2023-006 regarding preliminary social media tenants for downtown Chinatown Neighborhood Board 13. Before we get any discussions, I believe that Board Member Ross Isakani wants to say something about it.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I would like to make a motion that we defer this action indefinitely. My reasoning is, the Facebook group has been operating for many months now without issue, I believe. It's been operating very well. I think when Mr. Lai and we worked hard drafting these proposed tenants just in case, and we made a good effort to discuss and even try to pass it. It didn't pass. We went through discussion. But at this time, after so many months, it's just operating well. So I don't think we need to waste the board's time anymore with this unless something does happen.
Okay, so we have a motion and we have a second. Do we have any discussions on this? Go ahead, Board Member Lai.
Thank you, Chair. I rise in opposition to the motion. I appreciate Mr. Isakani's comments. However, I don't think that the board has given due diligence to the motion and its revised language that was recrafted at the behest of the board itself. We've had to defer action on this for at least 1 or 2 months now. I think that there are several outstanding questions that have not been addressed by our current practices and those that need to be addressed so that we know how to operate moving forward. Things that come to mind at just the first glance are, do we know if anonymous posting is now established and enabled on our board? Should it be? What do members who don't have Facebook accounts, how are they able to moderate? Where is the specific URL for the board marketed in what fashion? And is the intent to be informational or opinion-based? Those are all in addition to issues that we decided needed to be addressed as far as moderation of the content on the Facebook group and how content comes on and off. And I think that the current language needs to be reviewed and decided upon by the group. If it is the case that the board members simply haven't had time to review the content on the Facebook Google Drive to be able to review the content, I understand that. But I don't think at this time we should defer it. You'll recall that the preceding resolution 2023.005 did say that we would consider these particular tenants. With that, I'll yield, Chair.
All right, is there any other discussion? Go ahead, Board Member Sean.
Yeah, I agree with Board Member Isokane. Resolutions are meant to address problems. The Facebook group has been working without a hitch since it's been up and running. And while I appreciate your attention to detail, Dr. Lai, I really do. Honestly, I do. The problems that you've highlighted as the basis to oppose Mr. Isokane's motion hasn't really been an issue. So because of those reasons, I respectfully support Mr. Isokane's position that we defer this indefinitely.
Do you have any other questions? Go ahead, Board Member Travis.
Thank you, Chair. I have to agree with Board Member Lai here. I think this is the opportune time to establish some rules and regulations in the sense that right now no one's done anything to have a side. It's a neutral policy at this point. I think if we wait until there's a problem, then people are going to have feelings about what's happened and start taking sides. And I think preempting a problem is a better policy. But
any other board members before you go on, Sean? I like to say, so Mr. Lai, I understand you saying those people that do not have Facebook. If they do not have Facebook, there's nothing I can do about it. But I know you say you don't have Facebook. But for some reason, you keep on saying things that I put on the page that comes out. Now, I know that board member Armstrong and myself, we do not have no contact on Facebook and it is blocked, but yet board member Armstrong is capable of accessing the Facebook group because I've seen his what he's put on it, and which is great, and I encourage everyone to be there. But I had meant to say something to you last month about it because the phrases that you said to me was exactly what I had put on Facebook. So I don't know if you do not have Facebook, how are you getting that information?
If I may, Chair, thank you. Well, I think you highlight a few important things. I don't know right now what is the URL for the group's Facebook page. Secondly, we've agreed that all members of the board are eligible to be moderators, or in the terms of the resolutions that we've discussed, administrators of the page. So without having Facebook access, I would need to be able to use you or another member as a proxy to serve as an administrator in some fashion. These are the things that we need to resolve. This is part of making the sausage of a resolution and doing something that we need to do. And again, I'm happy if the group would like to take another month to read the actual content of the updated resolution, and then we can discuss next month, that's fine. But as Member Thompson has pointed out, we need to take a look and make sure we can address things that need to be addressed. Thank you, Chair.
So we're going to go ahead with Board Member Sean Fitzsimmons.
Thank you. Sorry for hammering this, but if we take a step back and realize why this Facebook issue even came up, it was to ensure that Mr. Armstrong's personal page wouldn't be confused with ours, right? That was the problem that we were tasked to address. Now, after we've been in practice for a few months with this new board elected, it's played out, and we don't see any sort of, at least I don't see any sort of confusion anymore. I think a lot of people, I don't think people are confused anymore. So again, it obviates the necessity to get into the technicalities of things. And if the past is the best predictor of the future. The fact that there are two different pages now and there's been no issues. I think it's safe to say that going forward that it's likely that there's not going to be any issues presented.
All right, so I'm going to call time on this.
I would like to say something, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Thank
Go
you
ahead,
for
Board Member
recognizing me.
Armstrong.
I just want to say for the record that I'm very ambivalent. I do think that your resolution or your motion, excuse me, has merit, but I also love the detail and the warning that Board Member Thompson and Lai have provided us. You know, for those folks who are out in the public and watching this on Olelo or still with us online, you know, this doesn't matter to them. And they're going to get their information from wherever they will. We have over 300 individuals who partake with the positive website that Facebook page that I administer. And clearly earlier it was personal with some people on this board. I hope we've passed that era and we're moving forward. And so I will abstain because I'm also very much a First Amendment person, which was my argument with the city and my problem with the city and still is. But nonetheless, I think there's a time and a place for everything and it's time to move on.
Okay, so and I'm going to complete this. This is going to be the last statement on this and we're going to move forward because we're not going to spend another hour discussing this when it's 8 o'clock and this is the earliest that we've got this far. So this is what I think that should happen at this point. I think since this is a discussion on Facebook which involves all board members, that we should wait until the December meeting when both Shulon and Mr. McDonald are allowed back here so that everybody can talk about this. That'll give everybody time to look at this. But that's what I think that needs to happen at this point because this is about the board. So all board members should be present. And those two board members will be back on the December meeting. So I think we should hold off till then to go any further. And that's the last discussion on that. Hold on. Yeah. So we do have a motion. Do you want to talk? He wants to talk the motion. Go ahead.
I would like to withdraw my motion brought up.
Do we have a second? Okay, so we have a motion to withdraw and a second. Yeah, so this is going to be dropped to all board members that's going to be affected by this Facebook group. So it's only fair that Shulon and Mr. McDonald have a say in this, okay? Is that okay, Kevin? What do you think? Okay, so we'll move forward. Thank you very much. So we'll go to, so we'll go next to our approval of minutes. Thursday, August 3rd, 2023, regular minutes and written summary for video record. I hope everybody had a chance to go ahead and look over this minutes, yeah? Do we have any discussions on this minutes? Mr. Lai, I know you're ready to go. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. I would move that the board adopt the amended record of the amended minutes of the video record as circulated and shared with the board and posted to the website. Board members, please know that it corrects some errors, including some names and adds some people who may have been missing from the list of attendees and does provide some key clarifications. And I think this is in line with our previous meeting minutes. Similar comments will be for the other month's minutes to be discussed under this section. As an aside, Mr. Chair, and I didn't bring this up under public discussion because I thought it would be appropriate here, might we rename this section from approval of minutes to approval of the written summary of the video record on future agendas? Why? Because that would more accurately represent what we are doing here, and the public will know that we're not actually documenting formal minutes as they were known to be so in the past. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You said it, and hold on. So you said it, and I actually agree with that one about amending the section, all right, to the summary, all right? So I'll go ahead and take care of it on the next agenda. That's no problem. Go ahead.
I heard a motion, I'll second it.
Okay, you second it? So we have a motion and we second it. So for Thursday, August 3rd, 2023, regular meeting written summary for video request. Go ahead, please.
Mr. Lai, was that a motion to adopt both the minutes as amended? Is that correct?
If the board would permit us to do so expediently, yes, I would move that we adopt the amended draft record of the video, et cetera. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you. And
And I am
Mr. O'Connor?
seconding that.
Perfect. So we do have a motion. Any discussion?
Any discussions? Not hearing none? Anyone opposing this? Not hearing none? It passes. Thank you very much. All right, so now we're going to go to new business, board concern. So communication with chair to request items of businesses to be placed on agenda per neighborhood board plan, section 2-14-111, C1, C2, in order to create more efficient and effective meetings. So basically, I've worked with all of you from Armstrong to Travis in putting things on the board that they've requested. So there's no problem. Whatever you want to add to the agenda, you may ask, and I will add, and these board members know that I will do it because they've asked and I have. Does anyone have anything to say about this? Go ahead, Mr. Lai, please.
Thank you, Chair. I wasn't sure what the particular communication may have been to you about this to have led to it being on the agenda. But on a related note, I did just want to say I appreciate your attention to this and reviewing the neighborhood plan as it is. We do have an opportunity to propose amendments to the neighborhood plan. I hope that our board will be behind a future proposal to fix what has been a longstanding error in neighborhood plan 2-114-111, which you mentioned before, namely that there is a missing carriage return in the middle of that long paragraph of item C2, because this is addressing the amendment of the agenda, which is applicable not just to inclusion of an item within the 2-week period or the 10-day period prior to a meeting. So I hope that we can get behind that later on. Now, relatedly, Chair, I know I have just 30 seconds or so left. Again, the issue of board member concerns is important, and I think if this needs to come up, we can clarify the following. The original request posed OIP, phrased as consideration of board members' concerns, is completely different from what the intent was, which was consideration of an item called board members' concerns. And as you can see in item 7CA here, rephrasing it, even adding a quotation mark to isolate what we were actually going to talk about, shows that that was not an intent to discuss an unannounced matter, but an intent to discuss the ability to put such on a future agenda. And with that, I'll yield.
All right, thank you, understood. Appreciate that. So do we have any other discussions on this? All right, so these are just, I don't have to get a vote for this. Yeah. Yeah, this is just discussion, so we appreciate it. So we're going to go next to the motion to request board members to not edit, no tamper with files uploaded to the downtown Chinatown neighborhood board's Google Drive, including but not limited to renaming of files uploaded by others. So everyone understand, the Google Drive does not belong to Neighborhood Board 13. It is ours to use. Google Drive belongs to the NC or the created it for us. But every single member here has a right to upload onto the Google Drive. So if you're asking for about resolution, all you need to ask me is what the resolution number is, and you can upload. Anyone can upload. Or if something comes in and you think it's very important, you can upload it to the Google Drive. Every single board member has that right. I don't believe that any board member, once somebody uploads and all that, no other board member should tamper with it. If they think they didn't address it correctly by naming it, then they may contact that board member, says, can you make this that name, like B1.A or B1.B. And that's all that is. All right. Do we have any discussions on this? Yeah.
Just a quick question for the board members here. Currently, I only have the chair and secretary Lai as editors, and so that gives you the opportunity to upload. Everyone would like to be added. Yeah, that's all. It makes sense. Just please don't post inappropriate things.
Yeah, because it makes sense, because you shouldn't have to come to me. Look, I got this resolution about this and that, but can you, yeah, all right? This way, you all have the freedom, and that's what it's for. Go ahead, Mr. Lai.
Thank you, Chair, for the chance to address this question. And I think I mentioned this to an email to you over the past couple of weeks before I left the country. But, you know, the point is clear that having a public-facing repository of files that's open to the public, yet editable by a number of people, is fraught with danger. The way we addressed this in the past was that Neighborhood 13 had a lockbox wherein files could be submitted to chair, secretary, the cabinet, if you will, which could then be confirmed as being appropriate, necessary for the following month's presentation in the public-facing Google Drive folder. It would then allow us to rename those folders, files rather, to match the agenda once the agenda was published, because often the agenda comes out later than the files are being submitted as we're collecting reports through the course of the month. This also allowed an opportunity for if any U.S. snail mail was sent to care of the board or care of the chair at the Neighborhood Commission office, physical offices, they could then be opened and scanned and deposited into the lockbox, reviewed for necessity, and then transferred into the Google public-facing folder. I would propose for you that we do that as a method to, number one, reduce the burden on our other members, and number two, for security, to reduce the possibility of files needing to be edited or renamed at the last minute and having someone maybe doing it improperly or whatnot. As far as content of files, agree. There should be no need for anyone other than the author to update a file once it's been submitted. But I ask you, Chair, to consider this as a possibility to use this as a methodology. As you can see here, the diagram shows files coming in from many sources to the lockbox. Chair then has a chance to review those and then move those to the public-facing folder so the public is not confused and doesn't see dynamicity of those files changing throughout the month. Thank you.
So thank you very much. So as I was told by NCO Lloyd, he explained to me that the Google Drive is meant for board members, all board members, to have access to be able to add and put in. And I respect that because this gives them more of a participation and being more of a part of the board. And they don't have to send unnecessary files and ask unnecessary questions to me, which when I'm being locked down with a lot of other things. But just as far as you're concerned, Mr. Lai, I will take a look at it and I will review what you said and I'll think about it and I'll get back with the board on that. All right?
Thank you, Chair. My concern primarily was, as I'm the one that's usually aligning deposited files so that people at home and members of the board can follow along as per the agenda, I would hate to not be permitted to rename those files appropriately to make it more usable for board members and the public.
So if a file needs to be renamed, get a hold of the board member that created it and let them know what that renaming should be. All right? So, but I will go ahead and take a look. Think about what you've said tonight, and I'll put everything into order, and I'll get back with you on this one on a personal note, okay? Just to tackle your concerns on this, all right? So.
Do we need a motion?
No, we don't need. Yeah, we don't, yeah, right, yeah, so this isn't a motion, but no, this isn't about a motion. So.
Mr. Chair, may I,
Yes.
if we're done with that item, may I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
We are obviously in a new setting in the library. And of course, all of us are really tickled that there's air conditioning and seat backs here. But one thing that I've noticed while we've been here is not only are we a little bit more efficient, but also there's no outside noise. Is this a place that we're going to be meeting regularly, or is this a one-time thing?
So we actually would like it to be, but the problem we have right now is ADA.
Oh, really? The Americans with
Yeah.
Disability Act?
So we're just not, I didn't see it myself, but one concern was everyone walked up here, you had to take stairs. I didn't see the ramp, so I'm not sure where it is. If there
I
is
thought
one,
it
we
was
can
in
discuss
front,
it.
But okay, I'm gonna walk. And
The other thing would be
Yeah.
cost. So
Yeah.
we're definitely going to talk to the principal and see what we can do. He's been very gracious to help the board out for the last several months.
okay, it is fantastic. I think the public will really like it. Yeah.
So All right, everyone, I really appreciate it. Tonight is a record for us. That's number one. Number two, I think everybody was well behaved. Everyone was well behaved tonight. And I appreciate it. So right now, we'll go ahead. Announcements, the next Downtown Chinatown Neighborhood Board, number 13 regular meeting is scheduled for Thursday, November 2nd, 2023 at 6 o'clock p.m. at Ke'ilani Middle School and virtual via WebEx. Rebroadcast of Downtown Chinatown Neighborhood Board number 13 meetings are scheduled on Olelo, Channel 49 for every third Thursday at 9 o'clock p.m. as well as 9 o'clock a.m. on the fourth Saturday of each month. These meetings are archived and can be found at olelo.org or go to YouTube and you find it. They are uploaded first thing in the morning, so they will be there tomorrow morning on YouTube as usual. As Chinatown, as a downtown Chinatown really gets a lot of preference on that one. Thank you very much, everyone. This board is adjourned.